I'm Linda Greenberg with Linda Greenberg Landscape and Designs. We're in historic Charleston. We're here at this amazing circa 1820 home, and me and my team just completely renovated this project so it can be a showcase garden for this year's Charleston Symphony garden tour and home tour actually as well. So behind me, this area here was coming off of a formal living room in, of course, a grand manner. So this had to be spectacular. So this used to be just old sod, and it just was very tired and dated looking. So we decided to put in a travertine to make this like a cool stone to come out and sit and just relax and just enjoy the evening. And behind me here, I wanted to have a focal point in between the two doors, which is, this is a pom-pom juniper, which is like kind of unusual. It's like art in the garden. And then I just flanked it with some ornamentals and boxwoods. Most of this garden has boxwoods in it that connects all the entire garden spaces. There's probably 300 varieties of plants in here, and I wanted to have a nice little outline of boxwood parterres, basically. We have this beautiful space over here, so I wanted to kind of add some color to the herb garden space. And so I added some flowers, everything from the rosemary to English thyme, Italian oregano, and other things. And of course, the client liked tomatoes, so we threw a tomato in there as well. And we've got some forms, and I put in a clematis and a fragrant cloud roses, and they're great forms. And so whenever they come out, there'll be a multitude of colors. You'll have the fragrance of the rose and the color of the rose, which is like an orangey mango color. And then of course the clematis, which is a purple color, so the contrast is fabulous. And then because of the contrast, I also wanted to bring in some salvia, which is like the blue. And this is the rock and blue salvia that I used, and some pentas, because we wanted to attract some pollinators. And then if you go to the left over here, this is the entry from this main home, which is obviously a very formal area. And she already had an established palm tree. So I just added simple elegance by the front door with a boxwood parterre and knockout roses in this area. So when you come around, it's going to be a pop of red color. We just wanted a grand entrance. So we flanked these doors, these wonderful 8-foot doors, with these just simple cast iron egg and crate planters, and we put some cherry boxwoods along with some coloring flowers that spills out of there. There would be a pop of color that would connect you to the next space. So come with me if I show you the rest of the garden. We wanted to add something that would lead your eye out to this wonderful space here, which is the water feature. And it's flanked on both sides with these large urns that are Italian urns, and we filled them with like thrillers, fillers, and spillers of some of her favorite colors. So whenever I arrived, this garden had this water fountain here, but it was the water was only coming up about a foot. So I thought it needed to have a more impactful sound. So I raised the post, and we have water about 4 feet tall, so that you can see from the road view all the way back. So it's a beautiful access that will pick up on the Canary Island date palm that's in the very back of the garden that I would consider like a Monet in a garden. It's just absolutely extraordinary specimen. So we refurbished this, and we added a white waterproof instead of the dark, just to make this kind of pop a little bit more. And it would actually connect the space again with the travertine. And then behind this, we also did the boxwood parterre, and she had these wonderful Japanese maples that were already mature, and we just cleaned these up. They really needed a lot of love, so we went to town and hand pruned and trimmed and lifted the canopy on that. And then behind here we have camellia shishis, which is like a beautiful pink color. And then in front of that is the Encore Azalea Ivory, which is a nice ivory. So about 7 or 8 months a year, she'll have color over here. And these are beautiful evergreens. So it'll always at least have the form and the texture in the garden. And then the next would be, of course, color and fragrance. And in this situation, it would be color. So obviously we wanted to take away from being able to see the cars. So we added a yew hedge back there that will eventually match her existing. It saves her money and time, but the connectivity is incredible. She had a lot of mature plants anyway, and she had this wonderful ligustrum hedge here, so we treed those up. They look terrible. So we treed those up, fertilized them, pruned them, and lifted the canopies, and it looks like an extraordinarily different space than it did when we began. And then on this side is another entrance into her rear courtyard. She has a kitchen house back there. So we wanted to keep this really simple. It's a more simple garden. We'll show you some of that as well. But the ironworks, please pay attention to some of the ironworks on the gates. These are just great accents that were on the home, and that really makes the Charleston garden more like Charleston. So now we're more into the intimate part of the way the client lives. And so every day when she comes home, she typically comes through this beautiful double gate. And so originally she had a very small pathway, and she always has luggage, she says. So we widened this brick pathway, again anchoring the entire garden with brick. Good Charleston, old Charleston brick. And we anchored all of the beds again with the boxwoods, and on this particular entrance, it just looks so grand to come home. It's very clean, and as soon as you come through this gate, it's welcoming you into her home, and then you can see your entire garden from this perspective. She's got these fun-loving chickens that she loves. This is her art. So this is kind of fun. It makes a little happy in such a beautiful space, and an amazing space actually, and lots of color here. And then to the left, of course, is just a privacy hedge from seeing the cars, and any traffic would obviously come down this long driveway, which we also beautify the driveway as well. After seeing that amazing garden, that garden welcomes you into this smaller, intimate, wonderful garden to just enjoy, relax, and take it easy. This is in the Cottage Garden, and so in this garden we filled it with a lot of her favorite flowers, which are the camellias, the azaleas. She likes ferns, and lots of the yews, and of course you've got to have a water fountain that gives you a little noise back here as well. And then this backs up. This is typical Charleston, downtown Charleston. This backs up to a neighboring home, so we wanted to add some delineation, so we added these beautiful urns that's on top of the brick columns. And then just to give her a little more privacy between her and her neighbor, we added this crepe myrtle that was just the perfect size for that space. So now we're in the Cottage Garden. It's fabulous, and so we decided to just repaint her existing iron furniture, add a few cushions that add some color, and of course you got to have some accent plants like the boxwoods that will anchor these spaces. We did a beautiful boxwoods that are in topiary form, that are unique. They cost a little bit more money, but it takes a lot more time for those to grow. And they're truly like art in the garden. And we put, again, a lot of her favorite flowers, which are the camellias, because this is going to be the space that she relaxes in, this great shade area under the live oak tree that's Charleston's known for, their historic legend oak trees. And then she'll eat and drink and relax in this area probably every night that she's in town.